Hey guys, welcome to the Thick Boys Podcast, the thickest podcast in the world. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Phillips.
Hold on. Oh, lower thirds. There we go. I just added them. And I'm Carlos.
And he's Carlos. I don't know what's happening, but wahoo!
And there's our social medias are on here too. Yes.
Fucking sick. Carlos, how's it going? How you doing? I hear your background looks a little different. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at. This isn't my room. Yeah, since the last episode, I moved locations. Ooh.
I wanna do it like this. I wanna do it like this.
Moved into the new house, so
Yeah.
I'm in the office, new space, new internet. Yeah, and so yeah, super excited. Mariana and I have our own place. We got 3 dogs. One of them that's right here. Come here, Luna. Come here.
Well, hello.
Come here.
Look at the dogs.
She's not in frame. That's all right. And it's been great. I mean, just kind of enjoying having a place to ourselves.
That's dope, man. I'm so happy that you guys were finally able to find the right place for both of y'all and were able to make the transition. We have a soundboard. That's amazing. We're trying out a new recording thing, so let us know if it works down there in the comments.
Oh man! You got to remember to not mute the desktop audio track when you're editing for that part.
Okay.
Which is why I said it here. That's like an editor's note for you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. So Carlos, with you moving into your house and, a few months ago, me moving out here to California, we're each doing something that we had kind of talked about or thought about for many years. And it got me thinking, what would 10 years ago Andy and Carlos think of themselves? I'm going to make you answer it first,
okay,
unless you don't want to.
No, yeah. So 10 years ago, I was 15.
Yes, sir.
15-year-old me was a sophomore in high school.
Really?
I guess. I don't know. What was 10 years ago? 2010? Yeah, I was a sophomore.
Gotcha.
I was a sophomore. Well, ending my freshman year, starting my sophomore year. 10 years ago, 15-year-old me would have probably been like, you have a house at 25? Why didn't you have a house at like 18 by then?
Really? You wanted a house that quick?
No, I think like younger me definitely, maybe not specifically 18, but like I remember like my parents got married at a pretty young age and started their life, and it's only been recently that I've kind of started to realize, like, I mean, this generation is just on a different timeline, you know? Like, things aren't so rushed, you know? You're not so rushed to get married and start having kids. And not to say that there aren't people, you know, that I went to high school with that already started doing those things, but I remember thinking back then that was definitely, like, if you didn't have, you know, if you weren't married by like 22 and starting to, you know, buy a home, you know, you're not succeeding.
You need to be
life.
working in the sawmill by 21.
Yeah, no, straight up. Like younger me definitely was a little bit more like, oh, I'm about to be an adult, which means I'm gonna be making a lot of money and just, having a big ass mansion.
I wanna do it like this. I wanna do it like this.
It took some years before I started to realize, like, wait, you know, that's not really realistic to,
Hold up a minute. Let's actually track this out. Let's see how this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a somewhat similar boat. I think 13. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna be 24 in a few months.
Wow. Young blood.
The young blood. Whoa, I feel old. Woof. I think 13-year-old Andy would just be happy that I made it out of small town Illinois. Obviously, no offense to anyone that does stay there, but it was something growing up that I always knew I wanted to see more of the world. So it's cool to think that, and plus, around that age, I was starting to get more into the thought of like actually pursuing like at least media of some kind. Because at that age, it was before I'd even gone to like a film camp that had really kind of changed my perception.
Right.
So I had kind of been passively like thinking about it. I think I was probably still at the age where I was like, I'm going to be a chef. And I'm glad I didn't go down that road.
Whoa, why not? I know a chef who listens to this show regularly,
too, and
who would be quite offended.
Than I ever have been.
I don't know, man.
If you're a chef, you have to be very good all the time, and I mess up a lot.
What a save! What a save!
That was the original intention of that statement.
You'll be hearing from that fan. I guarantee you. He's going to text you and be like, what's wrong with being a chef, Andy?
God.
Nothing's wrong. It's a great job.
I never was going down that route. I was saying for me as an individual, it was not the right career move because although I enjoy cooking, I know that I would lose the passion of it quickly. Anyway.
Yeah, funny enough, like I remember when I was younger, just kind of speaking of cooking, I wasn't like really into cooking. Like I was like, I know how to make an egg. Yeah. And that was about it.
you put it in a hot pan.
Yeah, but now
and
like
let it do its thing.
Now I'm a huge fan of cooking. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, having a brother who went to culinary school, who's super passionate about cooking. Yeah. Watching a bunch of content on the internet regarding cooking. Like Gordon Ramsay's YouTube channel.
Some Babish with binging.
Yeah, binging with Babish, Sam the Cooking Guy, just a bunch of just YouTube channels and a bunch of stuff like that. I love
Matty Matheson. I love his stuff. He's pretty good. Ayo. Yeah.
Wait, look. Listen to this. Speaking of Gordon Ramsay.
Where's the lamb sauce?
Carlos and I were on a house party call the other day, and he plays that, but I only hear half of it because he's like pointing the camera at his screen, and I'm like, why? And he's just like lamb sauce, and I'm just like, who is this?
Where is the lamb sauce?
I'm like, I have zero context as to who this is. I think 10 years ago, me would like the idea of me living out here in California. Obviously now with everything that's happened in the world and just like in personal life, it's kind of like, okay, realistically, this is not my forever home. So it is important to kind of keep the eyes on the future, but it is nice to kind of take a step back and be like, hey, I did a thing that I thought was scary. And like, it's not so scary. Like it's different for sure, but no need to be that anxious about it. So yeah, personal growth.
When I was younger, I didn't really like aspire to travel. Because I know a lot of people that like, oh, like when I graduate high school, I'm going to travel the world. And then same with college. I don't think I ever really had that desire. And I still don't. Like, it's not that I don't want to see things. Like, I like to travel. Like, when I've gone places, it's cool. But I guess I've never necessarily had that sort of, like, desire to, like, I want to, like, backpack Europe or, I don't know.
Yeah, so. I never even considered myself to be along those lines either. I knew that California was kind of the exception where it was like career-wise, I want to try it out, at least see what it's like out there. Plus, I had never lived anywhere outside of the state of Illinois. And I knew that before like before I got older and maybe like, because I knew I wanted to at least try it out. And now that I have, it's pretty all right out here. Like I know. I'll say here through my lease, obviously, the world is full of question marks for afterwards. But it is a nice feeling to be like, hey, I did the thing. Like,
I did the thing.
One bucket list thing. Check. Woohoo. Hey, Carlos, I've got a prompt for you.
Okay.
The prompt is, are there any foods that remind you of one of your siblings?
Could you imagine if you had used my brother as a chef as part of your segue? That would have been nice.
That would have been better, but
This is what we got. Well, funny enough, when it comes to Jesus, who's the chef, went to culinary school, I actually find it harder to pinpoint a specific food for him than I do compared to my brother Hector.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of like a specific food that reminds me of my brother Jesus because he just like has so much, like he just cooks so much food that like,
Yeah. Such variety.
yeah, maybe I could like, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but I will say, my brother Jesus has definitely, sort of opened my eyes to more vegetables.
Oh, yeah?
'Cause when I was younger, when it came to vegetables, like it's just when we would eat them, it was like steamed or just kind of boiled and just not appetizing in the slightest. And
It's mash.
yeah, and I just like he would caramelize onions and just sear different grill vegetables and just kind of it was from that point on that I would like actually get excited about different vegetables like asparagus and mushrooms,
Dude, grilled asparagus
onions.
is the bomb. Oh
Yeah,
my
like
God.
I actually like I can actually enjoy like a raw onion with the right kind of food. So I know like when it comes to my brother, I kind of think more about vegetables with him. Just because he's definitely kind of shown me like there's a lot of flavor that you can sort of add and unlock in different foods. So
Yeah. None of my siblings are chefs. So they've all they've all cooked and stuff and they're good at cooking, but it's not their job to actually make food. And funnily enough, a lot of the foods that I link with them, like they were stuff that when I was younger that they first introduced me to. I remember one specific instance where before my sister got married, to the husband she's still married to today and everything, of like 15 years. My sister met her now husband through, I think it was either through friends or through like a webcam chat room. 'Cause they were like right as the internet was becoming a thing. So it was obviously a much different age in terms of like, communicating and like finding new people.
they didn't meet on Tinder.
No, he lived in England. And they literally would talk to each other every day. And I
Like
think
on
at one point,
like on Bumble or
nobody, there were no apps in that day. It would be through,
did people meet other ways than Tinder and like Bumble and Grindr?
yeah, through like AOL chat rooms. Like I think that's how they communicated. I can't tell if this is a bit. I literally can't see your face, so I'm like trying to gauge. I'm like,
Wait, why can't you see my face?
I told you before we started recording that I can't see. All I have is your Google profile picture. So I've been talking to just the camera the whole time.
I forgot to set my other webcam on Google.
It's fine. I've been making do.
Oh man, that's funny.
I wonder if he's gonna change it, guys.
I
don't think
can.
he is.
No, I can.
It's fine. I'd like something to look at other than your little profile picture of the ocean going blip, blip, like anytime you talk.
You won't get a direct shot of my face, but
That's fine. I just like looking
you'll
at
get
you.
something.
Heck yeah. Look at that.
There you go.
So, my sister, her and her now husband met through an AOL chat room. I think it was AOL. It may have been one of the others. But they literally got to the point where they were talking to each other back and forth. And I remember one Christmas, she got a computer all to herself, because back in those days, it wasn't like a common thing for like teenagers to really have their own computer, because it was still like that transitioning thing of like, you know, when like houses may or may not have had like computer rooms, not like
Computer rooms?
I don't know how else to properly describe.
I got you. I get what you're saying.
Computers
Yeah.
were expensive, and it wasn't like everyone has one type of thing.
Yeah. No, I got you.
But since my sister was, you know, clearly showing a lot of interest in this person she had met online, they were like, well, so you're not hogging up the only computer in the house. We're gonna give you this new computer and a webcam and go nuts. And so they started communicating online and stuff. Anyway, this is a lot of explanation. I remember whenever she would be video chatting or just instant messaging with her then like boyfriend, I would come in there and I'm like maybe 4 to 6 years old. So I'm like an adorable little chunker. And I'm just like, I'm like, hey sis, what's going on? And she's like, I'm talking to someone. You want to say hi? And I'm just like, yo, what's up, dude? And then he'd be like, hey, how's it going? I'll be like, I'm just trying to get some gum from my sister. And she's like, I got some Big Red for you. You want to try spicy gum? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, you never had spicy gum? And I'm like, I'm 4. Where would I get it?
You're
So she's like, here's some spicy gum. And it's like that Big Red Wrigley kind. And I'm like, okay, this is the hottest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I remember just kind of being like, oh no. And my sister's like, haha, he's little. And then, yeah. So Big Red Gum makes me think of my sister.
Wow, your sister's a bully.
We like to have fun.
We like to have fun. We're just having a good time.
Yeah. I feel like spicy or like kind of that like, ooh, it's got a little bit of a kick was a common theme from me connecting foods to my siblings, because my oldest brother Joe, I link a specific type of black cherry soda. It's Shasta brand that you get from
Shasta brand.
From like Schnucks or Schnucks, however people pronounce it. I pronounce it Schnucks, but apparently I'm wrong. Also, I just noticed that we have, I don't know if it's in the shot, but you have the banana and the ice cream cone and the TV on the little shelf in the background.
It's not in the shop, but
it's there. Wow. Or I'll just superimpose it in post.
It's in the back there. I probably could have turned them on in the background somewhere, but
don't worry about that next time. My oldest brother, he, you know, at that age where I was conscious of his existence.
I was conscious of his existence.
Do you remember your siblings when you were 3 years old? I didn't think so.
I feel like my memory started at 3.
Yeah.
I always just remember being 3 years old. Because I feel like I announced it. Like, I'm 3. You know what I mean?
3.
I am 3.
Well, I think that's when like your actual like long-term memory may actually kick in. Because I know I have like 1 or 2 memories from that age. Anyway, so around that 4 to 7 year age range was when my oldest brother had moved into his first house. And it was like, he'll admit it, it was like such a junker house. Like it was falling apart, but it was his, so he was like happy to live in it.
Right.
And we would go to his house since it wasn't too far from where my parents lived. Anytime we would have like a social gathering, like he would host it there. And I remember him having, because right as it came out, he got the purple GameCube, and
Ayo.
he would have his fridge stocked with black cherry Shasta soda. And
Shasta.
he wasn't supposed to give me soda pop, but he did give me soda pop, and it was I thank you for it. Yeah, and I definitely linked that. Like anytime I sip something of like a black cherry soda variety, I'm always like, man, that takes me back to 2002. Like, what a time.
What's your favorite cherry cola?
Cherry cola. Let's see. I haven't drank soda at all this year. I've been a good little thick boy. And so let's see if my memory can recall. Have you ever drank Jones Soda brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a pretty good black cherry if memory serves. I feel like the black cherry sodas that I like the most come in glass bottles as opposed to cans. Because it's always just like, oh, this is bougie. I like this, even though it's not bougie, but you know. How about you? Any specific soda pop or anything?
Like if I'm gonna have a cherry soda, I really like cherry Pepsi.
Cherry Pepsi?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe it's because like when we were at SIU had a contract with Pepsi, so like
Right.
if you were to ever have like any fountain drink or anything from the vending machine, like if it were to be cherry, it had to be cherry Pepsi as opposed to like cherry Coke. Because I remember like a couple times when I'd go to theaters, like the movie theaters, and you'd get a soda or something with like popcorn, that I remember like, you know how they have like the flavors at like those like fountain sodas where they like you could do like the different flavors and like I always remember picking Pepsi, like cherry Pepsi, even there. So I guess I would say cherry Pepsi is my favorite.
Do you remember
cherry
when it was
colas.
branded as wild cherry Pepsi, and you're just like, dude, I'm fucking wild. I'm drinking wild cherry.
I'm wilding out. And it's like, no, calm down. It's just Pepsi cherry.
Yeah, just like, okay, you're a result of their product demonstration. Calm down.
Yeah. What about Brother Brian?
Brother Brian, I have chili cheese Fritos linked to Brother Brian because, and these are all kind of like sort of that peppery, that like kind of like not spicy, but you know, kind of like, ooh, it's an offshoot of the main thing. I think he enjoyed that. That was his go-to chip when we both lived in our parents' house. So I've got that one linked to him. What about
Nice.
Hector for you?
For Hector, it's lasagna. But what's funny with lasagna is, and this sort of thing happens to my brother Hector a lot with a lot of things, is that he gets branded as like the lasagna guy in my family, where they're like, Hector loves lasagna. And then like, I remember I'd have conversations with him. He's like, I mean, I like lasagna just like any other person. But like, for some reason, like my mom would bring home lasagna from a place that she like works by. And she'd be like, you know, she'd bring home the lasagna and it's good. It's good lasagna. And maybe my brother Hector was like the first to be like, I like this lasagna. And then my mom was like, Hector loves lasagna. And then look,
He's the one.
now he's like the lasagna guy. Like anytime we get lasagna, it's like, oh, Hector loves lasagna. I remember talking to my brother Hector a couple of times where he's like, it's good. like
it's food. Like
on our birthdays, like years ago, like my mom would be like, oh, on your birthday, we're going to cook your favorite food. And it would always either be lasagna or green spaghetti for my brother.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever had green spaghetti, but isn't
that like plant-based?
It's
pasta?
poblano peppers.
Okay, yeah.
And like a cream sauce. So it's just spicy spaghetti.
Yeah.
But like that was another thing where like he like I probably liked it just as much as him. But somehow he got labeled with like, that's his favorite food. It's him. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the lasagna guy. like even like his birthday's coming up in a couple days,
Yeah.
And like I was talking to my mom today, she's like, "Yeah, I might go bring him a tray of lasagna from like Freddy's that I work by, because he loves lasagna." And
Yeah.
I was just laughing in my head like, he likes lasagna just like
Right,
anyone else.
you probably get him another food and he'd be just as fine with it, but I'm glad that it's lasagna.
Like, another sort of thing that's similar that kind of happened to my brother like that was,
Yeah.
when we would go to like like stores, like whether it be Walmart or Kohl's or whatever, like my parents would like go shopping, they'd take us with. For some, like my brother got labeled with he knows where all the bathrooms are, because a couple times that we would go to stores, he would be like, "I gotta go to the bathroom," so then he'd go and find the bathroom and make his way back to us.
Yeah.
And then so now for years, we would go to like a store, and if someone had to go to the bathroom, they would ask Hector, "Where's the bathroom?" And he'd be like, "I don't know. I've never been to this store before." Like, like so many times we'd go to a store that we'd never been to, and they would ask my brother, "Hey, where are the bathrooms?" He's like, "I don't know." Like, I don't.
Do you think I'm aware of this?
Right.
I feel like all families have like those little inside jokes where it's just like they're repetitive, sure, but it's like it's part of what makes it like a family bit. Like, for instance, any gathering at all that like the siblings and their families and all of us get together with my parents, will either when we get there or when we leave, someone is bound to say Amy birthday, because I remember it was one of my sister's birthdays, and I think it was her husband or it was someone else, but somehow her name got lumped into, instead of saying happy something, it became Amy birthday because it was her birthday. But we've done it at Christmas. We've done it at Thanksgiving.
We've done it at Christmas.
Gotten together for like Memorial Day and been like, Amy Amy birthday, and then we're like, wait a minute.
One of the things that that happened with my family was we somehow got into this idea that 6 months before your birthday, you're that age, right? So like, let's say my birthday's on like May 19th, so then like,
let's just say that's when
December 19th, I guess, would be 6 months before.
Yeah.
All right, I'm 26 now, even though and the reason why that was a thing was because my brother Hector made up a lie.
Why?
And we didn't know this was a lie. For years we thought this was like true. He was like, "Oh, today I learned in school that technically 6 months before your birthday, you're already that age." And he like gave us some bullshit like, "It's because like your body, the way it ages, like it's technically that age." We didn't know that was a lie, and I guess like, well, like maybe my parents were like, "Oh, okay, cool," and like they just kind of took it in stride. Yeah. But I definitely was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, for sure."
I'm
like,
the younger one. I will take this as fact.
And it wasn't until maybe like 4 years ago that Hector was like, "I lied because I just wanted to feel 10."
I wanted the smallest amount of power at that age.
I just wanted to be 10 years old. And
gosh.
So like 6 months before someone's birthday, they'd be like, "Well, you're already that age." And we'd be like, "Ha ha ha."
You're just like, My brother said so.
"Officer, I'm allowed to drink this. I know it says I'm 20, but believe me, I'm 21, all right? It's after December 19th, so I'm good."
Going back to like family members like claiming that you are something or like pointing something out. I remember so many like big family reunions on one of the sides of the family. And it's weird because it's active on both sides, or at least it was. When we were growing up, it was all too common for not only for there to be someone who thought they were the best photographer in the family and had to show it off and take pictures all the time while people were hanging out.
Was it you?
But no, I was 4.
Oh, okay.
But they would be walking around, and they would always wait until the kids, aka basically just me, would be eating cake. So too many photos
no.
are like chubby little Andy shoving his mouth full of cake, and then I'm just like, dog, you could have gotten way better shots instead of me eating white sheet cake. Come on.
There's
I'm just
so
like, what
many.
was I doing?
There's so many unflattering pictures of you as a child. It's ridiculous.
Dude, it's becoming my Twitter brand. Follow me on Twitter.
It is becoming your. Every now and then you'll just get a nice little like, look at me at this age, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like I shared one yesterday because I was like, first day of summer coming back to Twitter, the fans deserve a little something. So I dropped me driving a boat, and I'm just like, see,
Oh
that
my
one's kind of
God.
cute. But then somewhere
You
I'm
gotta
not even
dr-
smiling.
you gotta drop it on screen. You
Oh,
gotta
I
you gotta
mean,
put it on the screen. You also
maybe I'll put-
I love that. I love the so far my favorite one has been the one of you and your brother,
Yeah.
Brian, where you guys just have like jorts and like you just
the
look
fucking Cloud
way
Kings of
you look
2003.
way too cool. Like
I'm looking up the other photos I have available right now. And this is going to be a podcast exclusive. So check it out, guys. And I'll share it on screen now, but I'm going to try and show on my webcam if I can. This one, oh God.
I gotta lean in here to see this.
So this little context, I feel like there were a handful of Halloweens that I went as normal like things where I was like, sure, I'll go as Shrek this year because I actually did do that. There was one time where I went as like a Hot Wheels racer. But there was one where I like to get a little creative. There was one year where I remember being like my mom and I went to the store and she's like, okay, but I don't want you spending I don't want to spend too much on this. And I remember thinking, man, I actually don't like any of these costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I'll just make one at home. And I made this. I don't have a picture for this one, but one year I made a character called Boxman, and I literally like Sharpied a whole design on the side of a cardboard box and wore that to school. And literally, when we went through our march, I was just little guy, kid in a box.
And then people on the side were like, Andy's poor. And you're like, no, I just really like this.
I just got creative and tried to show it. This one was a bastardization of props that we had plus like two things that we got at the store. I remember being at the store. And I saw an Elvis mask, and I was like, "That's kind of fun. It's not scary because my parents wouldn't allow like any scary masks, but I wanted to wear like a mask." And I was like, "Okay, I'll be Elvis." But I was like, "Man, do I want to be?" And so then I got a Dracula cape, and then I grabbed a guitar, and then
oh my God. Look at the double chin.
And I'm gonna put the proper framing over it, but you can see the obnoxious like bleh, like it's bad, but podcast exclusive.
Wow.
It is hot in my apartment. We got our electric bill recently, and in case viewers at home aren't aware, there's kind of a recession happening, and I kind of don't have a job. And neither does my roommate. So we're all just kind of running off of our savings and doing whatever gigs we can pick up during this time. And we got our electric bill, and that bitch was $265 because we were running our AC so much. And that's a lot compared to what we were paying, which was like $30 a month. And we're just like, yo, hit the brakes. So we've stopped using our AC, and we've been relying on fans, which work, but also it's California and it's hot. So
yikes. I got my fan running, so
yeah.
But yeah, I feel you. We try to turn the AC off pretty often.
It's one of those things where we had to learn the hard way of being like, oh, okay, this is life. We're adults now. We gotta limit this spending.
I remember at the house in Carbondale, like we very rarely ran the AC because like that shit burns up. real quick.
The problem is, it's like my overhead fan in my room does enough, but I just didn't think about it. So I would just put on my AC, but whenever I turn it on, it has energy saver mode already kicked on, but it like shuts off, and I'm just like, that's annoying. So I would press energy saver off, and so I definitely helped contribute towards the cost.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm just like, Andy, you fool.
Yeah, our AC thing has like an eco mode, so that's kind of nice.
Oh yeah. Man, the world today is a lot. A lot has happened in 2020. Don't you agree,
A
Carlos?
lot. Way too much has happened in 2020.
Well, it's not just like talking about any one thing. Obviously, epidemic, pandemic, a recession, human rights movement, and like they all deserve conversation.
Wow, Andy,
But
way to make this podcast super political. How dare you think that people
political
deserve
stuff.
rights?
I
Man,
just don't
love
want
that.
people.
I love when people are like, why are you getting all political? Like, is it really political to say that people deserve to not die? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dog, we need to have this conversation. Yeah. I mean, it's. I feel like every other day something new from a totally different subject comes out. Like for instance, you were saying how I think you were the one that told me about it, but Chris D'Elia,
Oh, God.
had his accusations come out.
Child pedophilia, child grooming just seems to be rampant this year, man.
Yeah. Well, and then Danny Masterson finally got charged for for everything he was guilty of. And it's like I took a few days off of social media simply because I was just like, I can't fucking keep up.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I was literally up until 2 a.m. unknowingly just continuously scrolling because there would be so much more new information about any subject. And I'd be like, didn't know this happened. Like,
yeah. So like the whole, it's like, it's crazy because it's like the whole, innocent until proven guilty. But damn, these screenshots are damning. Like these screenshots that are getting shared of celebrities reaching out to like minors, and then these minors like pretty explicitly saying like, I'm 16, and like it doesn't stop there. Like it's kind of there was like
messed up.
Like there was like the Chris D'Elia stuff. He definitely is trying to take the whole route of like I had no idea, like I didn't know, like and that like he might be able to like pass that off in like the court of law, because like there are quite a few like screenshots of like when like someone tells them like I'm too young, and then the conversation ends, because I'm sure he was smart enough to know like, well, I don't want to like look too guilty here. Yeah. But like I saw some screenshots of the actor Ansel Elgort or whatever, the dude from Fault in Our Stars and Baby Driver.
I didn't dislike his music, but I think I kind of have to now.
Like I saw some screenshots where like that same thing, like the girl had screenshots of her being like, I'm like 16, and he's like, as long as you don't say anything to anyone, and I'm like, oh no.
Dog, don't even throw that idea out there. What the fuck?
This dude like knows it's wrong and has now put it in writing that he knows it's wrong, and like
it's like I'm not justifying anyone, but it's like if you knowingly go into a situation being like, this is technically like convicting towards me, I'm still gonna do it. Like that is what's going through your mind there, guy? Come on.
It's super sad, just kind of like, not sad, like it's sad that this is happening, but not sad that like people are getting exposed because
No,
like
it's sad that it's been hidden this long.
yeah, that's the sad part because I don't want it to be like it's sad that Chris D'Elia is like getting exposed. I
miss him
liked him,
already.
right? Or like, or it's sad that Danny Masterson. No, it's sad that like this stuff was happening and like people like these people were getting away with it for so long that it's sad that like so many like young girls had to experience that and then had to like struggle with like do I even say anything like you know like that's just like the Me Too movement happened and like a lot of women were like coming out and it's just kind of like now also like you're seeing that it's like young girls it's happening a lot more to young girls too
Yeah.
and you're just kind of like when is this just gonna stop not like when
Yeah.
are people gonna stop coming out but like when are people
What-
just gonna like start calling out their friends you know like I like I've tried to think of like if I had any friends like in college that tried to date like high schoolers like luckily I didn't but like that was a thing I remember when I was in high school knowing a couple of like girlfriends not like dating girlfriends but like friends that were
Yeah, yeah.
girls that were like dating older guys and it was just it like it's kind of like sad that like sometimes people are trying to put that blame on like the girl like why is she going for like older guys when it's like no like it should 100% be on the adult to like cut off that sort of like anytime a young girl's like flirting or trying like showing that they have emotional like attachment to like someone else like it's on the adult to cut that off it's not on like these
100%.
it's not on like and it's not just girls like obviously it happens to like young boys and like men too but I'm just saying like in general like it shouldn't be on the child the adolescent to like censor like the conversations that they have with adults and like try to like stop any sort of abuse from happening because they don't know it's abuse like grooming like they don't know what grooming is like they don't know that it's happening
That is like 15 years old is still 10 years away from having a fully developed brain.
Yeah.
Like technically, I'm still a year and a half away from having a fully developed brain. And so it's like, you have to acknowledge that. And I think I'm even like, it's clearly a problem across the board, but it's frustrating to hear when celebrities have gotten away with shit like this. And I don't know, man, celebrities in general have just been kind of annoying me, just outside of accusation stuff too. Like the way they've been responding to any and all events, either by staying silent instead of using their platform for change, or deciding to sing Imagine for some freaking reason.
oh my
Or,
god never forget
Like,
the Imagine like
helping.
listen here we don't need that from you like we don't need you to be like everything's gonna be okay yeah for you live in a mansion like you'll be fine
Got years of like residual checks coming your way. We don't.
Right.
So and it's like influencers are also lumped into that for me, where I'm just getting like, especially out here in LA, I've seen a lot. I haven't seen in person, thankfully, because I'm not going outside because I'm fucking smart. Like, but I'll see on social media just like all the shitty people that will be like, give me your hammer. Look, I'm helping. Thank you for the hammer, and leave. And it's like, are you helping? Because you're really not.
and then like when Emma Watson like when the whole like people were posting a black picture like you know to stand in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and like Emma Watson posted hers but then she put a white border around it to match her Instagram aesthetic and then she then proceeded to add 2 more so that she had a black row in her Instagram feed so that it also just like didn't shift her other Instagram pictures because she had a whole thing and it's like oh, okay, like, so you care about the movement, but only enough to where, like, it fits your Instagram aesthetic, right? Okay, cool. Got it.
Whole like celebrities being tone deaf is way too a common thing nowadays. I want to try and see actually if I can screen share right now this video, and I'm sure I can maybe even if it doesn't work, I can put in the thing in post. But let's see. Am I an old man? How do I do this? Share screen. Okay.
Is this the
see.
I take responsibility video?
No, I don't know
Okay.
what that is.
Oh, you don't know about that one? Okay, before we go into yours, so
Sure.
like a bunch of celebrities like Sarah Paulson, Aaron Paul, like were that black and white video where they were just like in front of the camera and they were like, I take responsibility for like staying silent about systemic racism and like any sort of microaggressions. And they were like, I take responsibility. And like you could tell it was supposed to be this whole thing of like, you know, speak up or whatever. It's like, honestly, this just is coming off a bit cringy and like people don't care that you're taking responsibility for microaggressions. They want you to like maybe contribute monetarily or just kind of like say you support it and like provide resources for people to like support these things too, and then just like stop trying to make it about you and your white guilt.
Exactly.
No one cares that you're like, I used to be racist, but now I'm not. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
I
cool.
am better white person now.
I'm better now. Like, no one cares.
Yeah.
Stop making this about you. No one cares.
I hate to keep plugging my Twitter, but there was one thing that I like quote tweeted where like Jimmy Carter like spoke out his opinions about Black Lives Matter, and I'm just like, oh yeah, finally, like come on, thank God, the least popular living president to finally speak up.
I don't know. It sucks because like on one hand, it feels like people are being pretty harsh to these celebrities. Like on one part, you're like, I'm glad that like you're using your platform to support these things and to speak up. Like, that's great. And, like, I don't want to, like, discourage... Like, we don't want to discourage someone from, like, speaking up. But, like, at the same time, I don't know if, like, being a celebrity has just made them disconnected from reality. But it's just coming off as, like, super tone deaf the way that they're doing it.
Yeah, like for instance, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm hoping that the music doesn't get taken down because there's like music that overplays while this DJ is talking. It's David Guetta. If you remember 2012, he was popular then. He's apparently still, you know, active and everything. This was a few weeks back. And I remember only seeing a little clip from it, but it's a fundraiser. So it's like, it's for a good cause. Mm-hmm. And he's doing an outdoor concert, but it's on the top of the rooftop, which literally on top of like a skyscraper, which literally on that same street that the skyscraper's on, there were massive protests happening down below at the exact same time. No. And I'm just gonna let the screen share speak for itself because it's just like the way it comes across as really goofy and as a little tone deaf. But
oh no,
can you hear it?
No, I don't think screen sharing allows sound.
That's why I can see it.
Yeah, like I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So there's literal Black Lives Matter protests that happening like 200 feet below. And he's just mad goofing up there. And there's one point where he talks about COVID.
And America too, actually.
Hold on.
The world is going through difficult times. And America too, actually.
And America too, actually.
I knew we were going to do this. And I made a special record. So this record is in honor of George Floyd. And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
And he's like, drop the bass.
Shout out to his family.
Right?
Oh my God.
It just comes across as so like out of touch. Like literally, it's like, dude, I know you're raising a lot of money for this. Later, let me stop screen sharing.
Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine being George Floyd's family and like, wait, did David Guetta just give a shout out, dude? Yes, this is what we've been waiting for.
Thank you, David Guetta, popular from 2012. I appreciate him raising funds and doing a big fundraiser. And I guess at this point, kind of spreading awareness, even though like it was the massive conversation already happening. But it's also like, dog, there are active protests happening at your feet and you're standing safe from any sort of riots, any sort of, potential like uncomfortableness by literally being in a skyscraper far above everyone else. And
that's the thing is like, why? Well, I guess you don't want to have it on the streets because you don't want to form a crowd specifically.
No,
because like
also,
I mean, it's still like this is still happening during COVID times, and I know that there's a lot of people gathering on the streets, but you don't necessarily want to like give people a reason to blame you for that, like for people basically getting like way too close to one another. But maybe it's just maybe don't have it during the protests, David. How about that?
Yeah, like maybe do
I'm all for your fundraiser, but like maybe just be like, hey guys, let's postpone this for like a couple days, couple weeks.
And I think the cherry on top for me is the fact that it's like EDM house music.
Yeah, like
it's so silly to me. We're just like, I really want to pay my respects. Black Lives Matter. All right, now drop the bass. It's like,
because like how many people are listening to his speech and thinking like, oh, this is about to be the best fucking bass drop. Like they're getting hyped and they're not listening to a fucking thing he's saying because they're like, yo, do you listen to this build up? All right, David. Like
I'm totally waiting for the Onion argument to come out to be like popular DJ releases remix of Black Lives Matter protester getting shot. And it's like we're in a world where the Onion obviously has already been like satire has lost any meaning, but
dude,
also
the Onion has had the greatest fucking like just headlines during all this, man. Like it is just absolutely just great. Like I saw one where it was like, I don't know if it was specifically the Onion, but just satirical news organizations like Clickhole. Just all these different ones have just been having a field day. I saw one where it was like hungry child calls 911, so police arrive with pizza and then shoot him. Yeah. I'm like, it's just like they are just creating the most ridiculous headlines, and it's fucking great.
Man. But you were telling me you actually showed me the Reddit thread community of Ate the Onion of people or these fake headlines without actually clicking the link or looking into it any.
Yeah, I wonder if I can find a good one here real quick.
And for you guys at home, I definitely recommend checking it out because I was scrolling through it the other day and I'm just like, these are just so. It's like it's sad, but it's so funny.
Oh, okay. So this one really got me. It's a picture of Yogi Bear. Okay. And then it says, the Onion article says, heavily armed fans guard statue of Yogi Bear in case it turns out he supported the Confederacy. And they just like photoshopped a bunch of just armed dudes standing around Yogi Bear. And then someone just like shared the article like, are you kidding me? Dude, people are just, I love people that like fall for the Onion, dude.
Well, but it's also, it's like, but I know they're probably around people or know people that would listen to them that would also take it as fact.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh man, like I know in the age of misinformation, we shouldn't, but also it's like just don't be dumb. Just be a little bit smarter or show a little bit more effort into looking into what you read. Man. Times are whack.
I love gullible people.
Aye, what a fun conversation, huh? Well, you talk about celebrities and food and
Pedophilia.
siblings. We don't have to come back to that. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching the episode today. That today is 17th episode of the Thick Boys podcast. You can check out our socials.
Hold on, let me plug that real quick. Ayo! Woo!
Am I pointing to it? I'm pointing to it.
It's on your left. Yeah, there you go. There it is. It's just not going away, apparently. Okay, well, here's our lowest thirds.
As always, I've been Andy.
Nice. And I've been Carlos.
And he's been Carlos. And thank you guys for joining us today. And as always,
stay thick.
Thanks,
Tom Hanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.